This is Governor Bobber. I like good day, doctors.
George Allen here. Good day, doctors.
Go! You're watching Dr. Politics.
Well, it is Friday, and we are back live. We did a recorded show last week, which was made public on Sunday, actually, Sunday evening. Actually, we were at the convention this past weekend. It was a lot of fun. Saw a lot of people. Yours truly got the Fundraiser of the Year award, the Dick Hub Fundraiser of the Year award from the Maryland GOP. It was great. There was karaoke. We didn't have as many hospitalities as we normally do, but I think the next one, if we're in Ocean City, we'll be back to having a lot of good suites and stuff like that.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah. Does the RPV, do they have one convention a year or two?
Well, we have a couple of events, get-togethers. In terms of nomination conventions, we don't really do that much anymore.
No, but you don't do like party conventions at all?
Well, every year you have the advance, which is a big thing because we'll discuss the next election, and they have other meetings, but I can't think of any big events. Big.
You guys don't even do the Commonwealth, not the Commonwealth, Dominion dinner. You guys used to. It was like our red, white, and blue dinner. It was like the. I remember George Allen spoke there years ago. You guys haven't done that in years. The Dominion dinner.
I'm not as familiar with that. I don't know when that was done. I mean,
the last one that I remember going to was when Mark Earley ran for Attorney General.
Yeah, we do the counties. Every county GOP will have their big event, like usually a Lincoln Reagan Day dinner. So you'll see.
I haven't seen Fairfax hasn't done one in a long time. I know that.
Yeah. Well, I guess
Fairfax,
a little dispirited. Yeah, maybe a little.
Because I know a lot of people come over there to our Lincoln Reagan dinners, like Gary and Ann. They come over here. Actually, years ago, we had Tom Davis speak at our dinner.
Oh, good. All right, good.
We've had J.C. Watts over the years. We had George Allen. But I'll tell you, our last two biggest dinners were when George Allen came and Jim Gilmore came.
Oh, good, yeah.
Both were well over 200 people in attendance. The close, I think George Allen maybe. George and Jim were actually just at 300 or slightly above 300, like 320 or something like that.
Oh, good, yeah.
And I know my county, the last dinner they had 110 people there.
Good.
And while we did our Ehrlich tribute the week before. We had 120 people in the VIP.
Oh, good.
And we had over 400 people in the room.
Good. Yeah, I'm sure he's a good fundraiser, Ehrlich.
Yeah, he is. He's great. Let's start with Dr. Kissinger passed away.
Yeah, sad. He lived a long life. Yeah, he lived a long life.
Yeah, 100 years old, was he? Or 100.
Well, even at 100, his mind was probably a lot sharper than Biden's, even at the very end.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
I read there was an interview he did about 4 or 5 months ago. I guess it was in The Economist, maybe. I don't know where I saw it, but he was still.
But was that the one on AI or no?
Yeah, I don't know if he focused on AI, but it was a interesting interview. I read it. I mean, he wasn't on camera or anything, but still seemed like a very sharp guy. So very sharp, very smart guy. So I'm sorry he passed, but yeah, that's a long life. So he lived.
I think Left did not waste time going after him. Rolling Stones, a few hours after he passed.
Yeah, the weird thing. the weird thing about Kissinger, maybe this is an indication that he did good, is because both on the extremes disliked him. I mean, on the right, many really disliked him, and on the left, they did too. So,
But there are a lot of people in our day and age now are calling him a warmonger, and that's uncalled for. He was not a warmonger. Yeah, he got the Nobel Peace Prize, which the left wanted to take away, and he's offered to give it away, and they wouldn't take it. We had, as a result, I mean, he was indicted at The Hague by, the same clowns that indicted Bush and Cheney too for war crimes. It's like, a lot of these people who they seem to think the whole hate for Republicans just came around in 2016. It's been around since Eisenhower. Eisenhower was, they called him a racist, even though he's the guy that liberated the schools from Democrats in Little Rock. And he also, I believe it was Eisenhower also got endorsed from Martin Luther King, as did Richard Nixon.
Eisenhower's a good man, and but I think Kissinger's made positive contributions. He's a brilliant strategist, whether you agreed with him or not. I think he certainly should have been listened to.
I mean, he brought the Viet Cong to the bargaining table, with the expansion of the bombings into Cambodia and Laos, and basically
And the opening to China was very smart, because you see, China, we had things in common with China. One was our dislike for Russia and the Soviet Union. And so by working with China, we could help bring down the Soviet Union. So it was a real good strategic relation, a good reason for that. So smart.
I mean, we had, and I think however, I still think President Nixon should not have recognized China, frankly. We should have kept dealing with Taiwan. Peking would still be Peking, would be, we wouldn't be calling it Beijing, it'd still be Peking. And Taiwan would be the vote in the United Nations, thereby.
But when did the communists take over China?
After the war, that was right after the war. I mean, like 45, 46.
Okay.
They had that civil war, where Chiang Kai-shek's flight to Formosa. And that's where, the Korean War, General MacArthur, he had a brilliant strategy of winning the Korean War outright. And that was putting Chiang Kai-shek back on the mainland. And having the Chinese, have fighting a civil war.
Well, I guess by Eisenhower, it was really already done, right? The communists were already.
The communists were already, So. And remember, only Richard Nixon can go to China. As Mr. Spock told us, it's an old Vulcan proverb. Only Nixon can go to China. That's right. Who was it? Somebody I was talking about President Nixon, and remember he won his congressional election against a communist sympathizer, the pink lady.
I
forget her name, but there are a few things. She was never you Democrats, you guys, your former vice president Henry Wallace ran for president as a communist.
And that's the thing. They hated Nixon ever since that.
Alger Hiss and the Pumpkin Papers. We were right. Alger Hiss was a traitor and a communist sympathizer. And I have these liberals that came up to me when Nixon passed away. They go, "Well, that was President Nixon. That was his only regret." I'm like, he would never have regretted outing Alger Hiss. That's just fake news. This is days before you could actually fact check people, when the internet was just internet news groups and so on.
Well, there were a number of communists that rose to prominence. I guess the most famous is the Harry Dexter White guy who was with Roosevelt. And Truman, I think, was told that the guy's a communist, but still said nice things about him.
It's like Bill Clinton saying nice things about Governor Fulbright. And he was a despotic racist, governor.
Or Robert Byrd and Biden at the Byrd funeral.
And you have Trent Lott say a couple of nice things about Strom Thurmond, and next thing you know, he's out of a job.
Yeah, or lost his yeah.
And it's like the Democrats can say whatever they want about their leaders and so on.
I always thought that was unfair. That was unfair against Lott because he was just trying to be nice to the guy who's nearing 100.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, I just didn't. I thought it was more of a benign remark, but the media took it and ran with it.
Yeah, and let me share something. Last week we had the pleasure of having Spiro Agnew's. His nephew was on the show.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun. Here's a little clip of it. Let me get that started. There you go.
Come on. Come on, Jim. We're doing a podcast. You'll be on the show. We've got a celebrity in our midst. Come back here.
He's on the Baltimore County Central Committee.
Yeah, come around.
Well, who is he?
That's actually Leo Thuman. He's our Youth of the Year winner.
Paco Award. Thank you. That's right. You're a Pac. Do you guys know who William? We're going to start a little alumnus club. Do you guys know who William Packer was? Yes, he was a signer of the Declaration.
That guy standing back, that's Spiro Agnew's nephew.
Okay, okay.
A little small by mine.
He's on the Baltimore County Central Committee.
You need to kneel down.
Okay, good. Well, he doesn't look like him.
We have a celebrity here. Not many people know this, but his uncle was the great former governor of the great state of Maryland, Spiro Agnew, Ted Agnew. Everybody knew him as Ted Agnew until he ran for vice president.
Ted Agnew is my kind of man.
Yeah.
Yep. Remember that?
Yeah.
And that's Spiro Agnew.
He gets a lot of, right for, a few things, but,
Yeah, it was great having him on. He's a heck of a nice guy.
Well, if I had gone, I would have worn my Spiro T. Agnew watch.
I've got.
I showed you that. I had one.
Yeah, he gave me Spiro Agnew cufflinks.
Oh wow! Okay,
well,
mine was just
from when he was vice president.
Oh wow!
I actually have an Agnew 76 pin.
Oh wow!
Because they were gearing up. And it was going to be the Spiro of 76 was going to be their slogan.
Wow.
And what's funny is we just kept his hands out of the proverbial cookie jar. He probably would have gotten elected president in 76.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? Possible to say, I guess.
Well, it's like somebody was telling me to go, if President Nixon won the 1960 election over Kennedy, he thinks Vietnam would have been avoided altogether. We never would have had the whole Vietnam issue.
Yeah.
Well,
but
I don't know.
Yeah, there are a lot of those what ifs. I mean, what if Coolidge decided to run for another term? I don't know that we would have had a market correction in 20. Well, I don't know. Maybe we wouldn't have had the Great Depression because I don't know if he would have signed Smoot-Hawley.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know that he would have done what Hoover did in terms of government spending and tax increases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this was Hoover's second term, right?
Coolidge could have run again, right? Because he took over for, was it McKinley?
No, Teddy Roosevelt took over for McKinley.
So Coolidge, was he elected in his own right, or did he take over for somebody?
No, Calvin Coolidge was elected in his own right. He was, I want to say he was also a two-term president, Calvin Coolidge, Silent Cal. He's probably the most underrated U.S. president in the 20th century.
And according to DeSantis, also praised him at the debate.
Yeah, Calvin Coolidge is a great guy. I mean, did you ever meet Calvin Coolidge, the younger Calvin Coolidge?
No.
He runs, what's that group in Herndon? I met him at Morton's, one of the training schools. Calvin Coolidge, he's the executive director of some Right of Center nonprofit group.
All right.
I can't think of the name, but it's like out in Herndon or something like that.
Well, there are two stories of Coolidge. There are a few that I always like. The most famous is the one when the woman came up to him at the White House and said, "Yeah, I bet my husband I can make you say more than 2 words." And he looked at her and said, "No, you lose." That was The other one I remember he was giving a speech. He was a very witty guy. He was giving a speech, and so he's standing up behind the podium giving the speech. And then after the speech, the lady came up to him and said, "Yeah, I love your speech so much. I was standing the entire time." And Coolidge responded, "So was I." So yeah, he was very witty. I've read a book about him, but I always liked him, and I think he probably had more of a sense of humor than people realized.
Yeah. And, we also had a debate. Speaking of debates, we had a debate this past Wednesday. I think the winner of the debate was Nikki Haley, I think. I hate to say it.
Yeah,
Although
she
I
did.
think Ron DeSantis did very well in that debate as well, I think.
Yeah, I think DeSantis did well. I think Vivek did not, because I think he was so over the top against Haley and then holding up a board. Haley equals corruption, and
Yeah.
I think he kind of overdid it.
Yes.
Probably turned a lot of people off. So I mean, I think he's a smart guy. He can be articulate, but I think he just overplayed the attacks.
Yep. And I think that's a problem. Also, it never looks good when you have three male candidates beating up on the one woman on the stage. It just doesn't,
Yeah, probably not
and you had, and I thought when Vivek told Krispy to walk off the stage, like go home, have a burger, that's really uncalled for. Who is he to tell?
Yeah, I agree.
Any can. I mean, we still have, Bergman dropped out.
Yeah.
But you still have Ryan Binkley still running. You still have Asa Hutchinson who's still running.
Yeah.
Remember when Asa Hutchinson was a great warrior of the conservative right?
I don't so much remember that. I remember the two Hutchisons. Remember there are two of them.
Which one did Wyrick like? Wyrick liked one of the two. I want to say it's Asa.
What was the other guy's names? Asa and I forgot the other one, but they were brothers, right?
Yeah, one was in Congress, one was in the Senate.
Yeah.
I think they may have both been. Yes, happy Hanukkah, Craig. It is day 2 of Hanukkah, and while I want to say there was one Hutchinson that came to Washington.
Because one was.
One of them actually was. I remember Paul Wyrick wrote a commentary about there's something in the water. Tim Hutchinson.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Tim Hutchinson.
And I remember Paul wrote a commentary about how there's something in the water in Washington when good, moral, upstanding people like one of the Hutchinson brothers, whichever one had the affair, came to Washington, had an affair, divorced his wife. I want to say, and let's see, he's the former senator from the state of Arkansas, Tim Hutchinson.
Yeah.
That's not the same. No, that's not Asa's brother. That's a different Hutchinson, I think.
Are you sure? I thought they were brothers.
Yeah, right. Never mind. I was thinking of someone else. There's another Hutchinson who's not a Republican, and I'm like, yeah, Tim Hutchinson. Yeah, he's the one that had the affair, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
We could always have
a discussion. It says he was married from 1970 to 1999.
All right. What year did Paul pass away? Early 2000s.
Yeah, it was like it was a little after 2000, or maybe 2001, 2002.
Yeah, something like that. I went to his funeral. I met Clarence Thomas there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went to his funeral, and yeah, that's where I saw Thomas.
Oh, 2008 was when Paul passed away.
Okay.
We have Ethan Gumpman on our other show a lot, talking about China.
Yeah, I know.
And him and I were talking about Paul's passing. He was like out of the country when that. He was like in London or something like that.
Yeah.
When he heard, yeah.
I remember Ethan went to Hong Kong, and I remember when he got back telling everybody how impressive Hong Kong was. And he said, look out, because it was this was before the Chinese took over.
And he was also in Taiwan just recently, got back from Taiwan earlier this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's got to be kind of scary. The tension may be pretty high in Taiwan.
Yeah. and we had a couple of shows with him, which is great because it's like 13-hour time difference. So, or is it 11-hour time difference? Because we do that show. We do that show at 7:30. It was like for him, it was like 8:30 in the morning or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, which worked out well.
Okay.
And then there's but you know, the China stuff, that's another thing, you know, Xi Jinping coming to America, you know.
Yeah.
We don't have any Henry Kissingers in the State Department anymore.
No.
You know, we don't have any James Baker running Secretary of State. Yeah.
But you know, if Kissinger though was in the State Department when WSA was president, the world might very well look different today. Because I don't think Kissinger was a supporter of the Iraq War, was he? I mean, the Gulf War he probably was, but I don't know about the Iraq War.
I'm not sure what his position was on that. I'm
But
sure
you
one of
know-
our viewers.
But I know W did consult with Kissinger at different times.
Yeah, I know Brent Scowcroft was against the war.
Yeah, Brent Scowcroft and a whole bunch of other Bush alumni, senior alumni were too.
Yes, that's where I think the only answer fitting from President Bush 43 was, well, I've got 2 terms. You guys got 1.
Yeah,
Who's the
well,
better president?
well, it was just a timing sort of thing, really, for him because Iraq didn't really go south until the second term.
Well,
No.
actually, let me tell you, even when it's going south, I think what really killed us was, I think it was Congressman Mark Foley from Florida, who was
Yeah, they built
chasing
that
the-
up. They built that up too, no doubt. I mean, any type of
And that I thought we were going to hold the majority all the way until that point. That's when I'm like, it's over. We're not going to win the majority.
Yeah, there were a number of little things I remember. I remember the Foley thing. I think there were other things too, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Foley was an odd one. I don't know whatever happened to him, but yeah, he was kind of a weird guy, I thought.
Yeah, and
But the other thing is, we should mention with Congress is McCarthy's leaving,
yes,
and
that's
Santos has been
disappointing.
expelled.
Well, Santos, yeah, honestly, Republicans should think long and hard before they expel the guy.
Yeah,
You know, this is gonna. Like, do you remember back? Linda Tripp was indicted in Maryland
yeah,
for wiretapping. Okay,
yeah.
even though it happened in Virginia, but it was a Democrat prosecutor that decided to prosecute Linda Tripp.
Yeah, okay.
There'll be some opportunist prosecutor around somewhere in the country to indict someone, and they go, "Oh, we got to expel them." You know, we've got that precedent set by Santos, and I think as a result, it's not it's not the best. And also, when you have a slim majority, you don't want to kick him out. You know, he's not going to win re-election. You know, primary him next year.
Yeah.
You know, don't do this. You know.
Well, and the other thing is, our majority is so slight as it is, and then with McCarthy leaving,
Yeah.
and I don't think McCarthy's going to wait till the end of the term. I think McCarthy's leaving
January. He's leaving in January, yeah. But you know, they do have a hope in California with Steve Garvey,
Oh, I like Steve Garvey. Yeah, great.
former
Yeah.
San Diego Padre, is running for U.S. Senate from California.
And a Dodger. Remember, he was also the Dodger.
Yeah, he was a Padre second. He was a Dodger first, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember this is after the Padres had gone to the World Series. It may have been maybe a year because he retired soon after. And I think it was 60 Minutes or it was an ABC News. I think it was 60 Minutes because he was friends with the Reagans. And I believe there's some comment that the Reagans really wanted him to run for governor of California.
Okay.
And he opted not to run at that point. But now he's running for U.S. Senate. I think he's got a fighting chance, frankly.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know what took him so long. In a sense, there may be some reasons I don't know, because they were talking about Garvey running for most of my life. You know, once he left baseball. So,
Well, you know, his daughter works locally.
okay.
She is on the sports desk at Channel 7.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I believe her name is Elizabeth Garvey.
I didn't know that. No, I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
let's see if I can't find her name. Actually, a lot of these news sites, they're
Yeah.
just horrible. They're not as good as people you could use. There's always like a section where you can find the reporters really easy, and now they don't do that because you got the mad scroll. You scroll down, let's see. But yours is Channel 7. You see her on News Channel 8 a lot, which is now also, it's just Channel 7. Oh, wow, Horace Holmes died. I didn't know that.
Who's that?
Horace Holmes, he was a reporter.
I think I remember him. Yeah.
And he
do
passed on,
remember him.
because he used to do the morning news, Oh,
Yeah.
we've also got, the debates. Who did you think won the debates?
I thought from what I saw, I'd rate DeSantis, and then I think the worst was probably Vivek because, like I said, I think he overplayed the attacks on Haley.
Behaving like a child.
Yeah, and on Christie, telling him, like you said, oh, why don't you walk off the stage, go have yourself a nice meal and drop out of the race. I just thought it was a little. Look, here's the thing: for some smug young kid, I don't want to say kid, but he's young.
He's younger than us.
Huh? Yeah,
he's younger than us, a lot younger than us, actually.
Totally young. Telling Christie, former governor of New Jersey, why don't you just move along? I just thought it was that's immature.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's just really bad the way they do things.
I don't understand the strategy necessarily. I don't know if you do. What is he really? Every debate really goes after Haley, and I wonder if there's something else there. Why, or is there a strategic reason that he feels it's best to attack her?
Also, the fact that he wouldn't call her Nikki and he used her given name at birth. I'm like, have some class. It's like,
that's just weird. I agree. Yeah.
If you don't want, if you want to keep a name that's really hard for people to pronounce, then you complain when people can't pronounce it correctly. I can't pronounce his name correctly.
I wonder if they're both of Indian American descent. Do you think maybe is that part of it? Is that sort of a rivalry, or that's considered okay? Or
I don't think there's any rivalry there, frankly, between Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy. But it's
remember Bobby Jindal, the last sort of
Bobby Jindal, and that's. And he was more. It's funny. I didn't even support Bobby Jindal. I can't seem. Okay, I'm not going to work that hard to find her name. But she does sports at Channel 7.
All right. Well,
but
I'll say this as well, though, that Nikki Haley, I think against Biden would be the strongest candidate we have. I think she would slaughter him.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean I'm backing her for the nomination. I'm just saying I think she'd be the strongest.
Well, I think any one of our guys could beat him.
Yeah, probably at this point. At first, when we
I think even Chris Christie can beat him.
Yeah, probably.
He's not going to be our nominee, but.
Well, when this all started, I had the view that, well, why nominate Trump because he's going to lose? I don't think he can beat Biden, but Biden's gotten so weak now, and now is at a 37% approval rating that I think Trump beats him. I'm now starting to think Trump going to beat him.
But remember the polls, right? Remember Mitt Romney was to walk over Barack Obama in 2012. All the polls were wrong. They were very wrong. They were so off,
But I think in the case of Trump, I think he always does a little better than he's polled. So when the polls have him down by 5 points, to me, it means he's tied or something like that. So,
and they have him ahead in some of the polls, so.
The other thing I would say is that people say, well, Biden can still come back because Clinton, and they have all these other presidents that came back when things were looking bad the year, the December before the election, the next year's election. But that's really comparing apples and oranges because Biden doesn't really compare with anybody. He's the first sort of senile president, which most people think he's senile. So just because Bill Clinton came back from adversity and won the next year, doesn't mean.
But here's the thing: when Bill Clinton came back from adversity, the economy was not in the tank.
Yeah.
You weren't paying close to $4 for gas.
Yeah.
Or over, depending where you are, over $4. If you're in California, you're paying over $5 still.
Yeah.
and it's like you can't.
But it's hard for
Right.
it's hard for Biden to have sort of a rose garden strategy when there's no rose garden. It's not a rosy situation. So he
Yeah.
would have to make his case to have any
I
sort of
mean,
shot.
Bill
at winning,
Clinton
I
was
don't
able to point to the growing economy.
think.
Crime rates were down. DC is looking like it was under Marion Barry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I had a carjacking the other day, and it's like a doubling of the carjackings from last year, which I think was very high.
They had a carjacking in Arlington recently.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that.
In McLean, I mean, it's like McLean, really? In McLean, you have carjackings. It shouldn't be happening in McLean or Langley or any of those.
Yeah, that's
Or it's like, what next? Great Falls, there's some carjackings there.
Yeah, I think the problem is they're gonna have to start sentencing people to jail. They're really gonna need to start doing that.
Well, I think in Maryland, a lot of Democrat prosecutors are very upset with the new reforms, and you got people like Will Jawando and Will Smith in our state legislature. We're like, hell no, we're not going to change this. We like what we've done, and they want to keep it that way.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we in Fairfax have a horrible prosecutor. We got rid of the sorest prosecutor in Loudon, so that was good news.
Biberi's gone.
Yep, yeah. So that was good news. That was like
She was very arrogant, though. She wouldn't even debate the Democrat.
Yeah.
In the primary.
Okay. Yeah. She's.
But bad. I think the Republican won that primary. The general, right? The Republican won.
Yeah, the Bob Anderson won. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's good.
And at least maybe they'll do something about not being against data centers. I don't see the problem with data centers.
Yeah, there looks like it's going to get through in Prince William.
Maybe I'm missing something, because I go into data centers all the time. It's not, it's not. They're not high-rise monstrosities popping out of the grass. Like I don't know if you remember. There's a photographer named Paul Lyons, I believe was the guy's name.
Okay.
He took a picture of Arlington when E-Trade Bank had that great big building by Boston Malls. You see the trees and you see the giant building popping up out of the trees.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it's going to get through the data center. So in Prince William.
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing. Data center brings jobs, because people use data centers to co-locate servers, to have racks and so on. Yeah. And it's better than having a condo complex being put up there. Yes, they did. There is a highway in DC being renamed from Marion Barry, the mayor for life.
Oh, jeez. Did I ever tell you I met him years ago?
I met him too at NET because he was buddies with Armstrong Williams.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
He had a show on the whatever network that was done after him between him and Genevieve Wood. It was called B&W, Barry and Wood.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't remember that one. That may be after I left.
That was like with Renaissance Network. That was after America's Voice folded and collapsed. This shyster, Vince Castelli, picked up the pieces and bought it, and him and Armstrong. And
do you remember that guy? They brought in this consultant in 98 or whatever, Roddy or something, kind of a slick guy. He was like with the Golf Channel or something. They brought
Bob Sutton. No, Bob Sutton.
Yeah, I remember Bob Sutton, but he brought in a consultant. And the
the guy from California.
Yeah, maybe.
And some woman there. I forget her name.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I know them well. They're the reason why. They were like the leaders of that coup against Paul.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And Dick Dingman joined the revolution.
Yeah, that was really disappointing. I was sorry. I was shocked to see that.
I know. It's like Dick was Judas, before the watch,
Yeah, no, that was a surprise that he and I think Paul was very upset about that too. I think he was very bitter about but I don't know that for a fact, but I just remember him confronting him, or at least overhearing something that I thought was
remember you forget that meeting we had that day when he said he resigned or was fired from being CEO of NET.
I
Did you
think that was.
take good notes?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. Mm.
And
Yes.
and you know they did the joint staff meetings between NET and Free Congress.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, the NET meeting was pretty short, but the Free Congress meeting, you would not believe the stuff I heard.
Yeah.
And the Free Congress meeting afterwards.
Do you remember that time we got an influx of cash, but we thought we were done? So we had
Jeff Forrest, yeah, Jeff Forrest, yeah.
So we had a joint meeting, and I remember Paul started to read what he had prepared that we're going to sink and go under. And as he was starting to read it, he then ripped it up, and then talked about how we got the extra infusion of cash.
Yeah, I mean NET was like around 97. It was teetering on going under, and Jeff Course, of course, the Course company came in, threw out a lifeline, you know.
Yeah,
and then that's how we got Bob Sutton and those guys that basically brought down the house and Paul, so to speak.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like frankly, you know, Paul was the innovator there. I mean, before Fox News, it was NET.
That's
I mean,
right.
Look at the people that came out of NET that are now at Fox News or other media. You know, Major Garrett.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He was a slime.
Oh yeah.
He was too good to talk to us little people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, he was an a-hole. Excuse my
what do
language.
you call it?
He was.
Marianne Folison, she was great. She was a class act. She's still in the area, by the way. We talk from time to time. I think her kids went to George Mason also. Hard to believe. Remember, that was when she had her first child, was over at NET, and now her kids are graduated from college already.
Yeah, time flies. Yeah,
It does. It does. You know. And we've got.
You ever hear from Greg Jenkins? Remember Greg Jenkins?
Yes, I do remember Greg Jenkins. I really don't hear much from him. He was one of the few people that stuck around with the new network renaissance.
Okay.
And then he left too because, well, everyone there was horrible. You know, and they had no affiliates, but they would charge Free Congress like $500,000 for a show.
Okay.
Or something ridiculously high like that, and they weren't even broadcasting it. No, you couldn't see. There were no affiliates. He had no affiliates. The guy was a con man.
Yeah.
You know, but that, and then you had, I mean, NET had a lot of fun working for NET because, you know, I was actually working for both companies. I was working for Free Congress and I was also working for NET.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And
yeah, those were the days. I talked to Kyle Key recently. Remember Kyle?
Yeah, I remember Kyle. How's he doing? Is he in Kentucky still, or?
I guess I just dropped an email. I mean, I know we're boring the viewers, but yeah,
it's fine. Hey, anything can happen on this show, you know. I talk to Eric Allen from time to time. He's on Eric Allen and I talk from time to time.
All right, good. Yeah. I remember Bruce Blossel.
Yeah, I remember Bruce Blossel. Yeah. What's he doing these days? I know he went to New York because he used to come to Grover's.
I don't know.
Yeah. And Rich Westfall, is he still at LI or?
No, I got a message from him the other day. I saw him at the soiree.
Okay.
Hadn't changed a bit. I told him he looked just the same. He hadn't changed a bit. He hadn't changed a bit.
Yeah. Anyways, I think we're boring.
We're boring our people.
But let's get back on track here. You know, the Ukraine war is going on, and
it looks like
Hamas broke the ceasefire. I mean,
yeah, that's right,
by firing rockets in.
And it looks like there's a response against these universities that have been allowing a lot of sort of anti-Semitism or some horrible rhetoric.
My nephew, who's also Jewish, went to University of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
He sent a letter to them saying, I have never given you one dime.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you should. Well, I read an article where, you know, the chant, then people a lot of times will just repeat things they hear. And so the chant from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Well, someone was polling a lot of these students, the snowflakes that were chanting this, and they really didn't know what it meant. They didn't know the sea, the river.
Yeah, which sea is the Caribbean Sea?
Yeah, that's right. Or the Euphrates, or they said the Nile, or
Yeah.
But anyway, it was just so many of them are, and it led me to think that so many are just sort of indoctrinated or programmed, and then they repeat what they repeat that they think is the social justice stance.
Yeah, and yesterday's first night of Hanukkah, and the fact that many Jewish Americans cannot, when they go out in public, they're harassed by care thugs.
Yeah.
Folks, like there was. I mean, Camilla Harris said, Israel should, stop killing civilians. Well, how about you tell Hamas to stop killing innocent civilians in Israel? Yeah, you take their high money, you go, oh, Israel needs to, restrain, and no, they don't. They don't need to do a damn thing. Hamas, Palestine, we call it whatever you want. It's a terrorist state. And Israel has to do what you do with terrorism. You got to decimate. Hamas.
And I noticed the bias in the media. For example, sometimes I watch BBC at night, and
geez.
They describe it, and I noticed this on the Chiron. It was described as Israel-Gaza fight or Israel-Gaza war. They took out Hamas. It was Israel-Hamas, but they realized that Hamas people have a negative view because Hamas is a terrorist group. So therefore, they've got to try to put the spin on it and describe the struggle as Gaza against Israel.
Yeah, I mean it's
So yeah. But no, I think Israel's hanging in there, and hopefully they're talking about flooding the tunnels or doing something to destroy the tunnels, and so I'm in favor of that.
Yeah, I mean, do what you have to do.
I agree.
It's kind of like when President Reagan restored order at Berkeley, President Nixon restoring order at Kent State.
Yeah.
Crosby, Stills and Nash has that, and has that their famous little protest song. Ohio.
Yeah.
But they look the other way.
Well, it's good that so many billionaires or big donors are starting to apparently stand up. So I think there's a backlash against.
It's coming.
And there was a billionaire who I guess gives a lot to UPenn, and he's trying to push to get that president removed.
Yeah, Harvard is another one.
Yeah, that's right.
I think they may have been successful there.
Yeah, maybe it's the guy. He's Bill Ackman, I think's his name. I don't know him, but he's apparently a billionaire. So he doesn't want to keep giving his money to those universities, which now they call them the poison ivy.
I think that was. I want to say that was Chris Plant that's coined that phrase.
Oh yeah, poison. I like that phrase. Oh, and the other phrase I like, and I don't know who said this. Maybe it was Chris Plant, but you remember the White House interns apparently wrote a letter denouncing Biden policy, and I think it was Chris Plant. Someone described it as the intern fada.
Yes, I think it was Chris Plant.
The intern fada.
Yeah,
that was funny.
And they've got a great folks over at WMAL. Everyone from Larry O'Connor in the morning to Chris in the late morning or later morning, I should say, and Vince Colonnades.
And I listen to Ben Shapiro at night. He's got his show. It's on.
Yeah, they used to have another guy on there. In the evenings, John Batchelor, he was really good too. I think he's on now. He's on at 11 now. I think they put him on at 11 now.
Oh, I don't know, but yeah, I think you're right. Yes, I think you're right. And then they have Matt Walsh on before him.
Oh, do they? Okay. So Shapiro only has an hour show. I take it then.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
Matt Walsh is on after Shapiro.
Oh, so that means he must have only an hour show,
Matt Walsh.
Yeah, there you go, Susan.
Yes, thanks, Susan. But
what I don't like about MAL, and it's all the talk stations, The weekends are just infomercials.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they are.
It's like that's why I'm glad I've got XM in my car. So I switched to Patriots or Doctors Radio or 80s and 8.
But that's weird that for such a big station and like MAL that they wouldn't have regular programming on the weekend or some.
They used to have. I mean, Chris Plant used to be on the weekends. Fred Grandy used to be on the weekends.
Okay, I remember Fred Grandy. I didn't know he was a weekend.
Yeah, before he was. And then Sam Solovey, if you remember him, he was season 1 of The Apprentice.
Okay.
He was from Friendship Heights, and he used to do a weekend show. Because I remember when the shuttle went down, he was the host.
Oh, okay.
That's right, Congressman Gopher.
I remember. Yeah, that's right.
And there's a lot of people. They used to have weekend program. They used to have. I can't think of the guy's name, but there was one financial guy, but he wasn't like the other financial people. He wasn't hawking anything. He would talk about the money I think the show was Money Politics. Actually, was the show.
Was that Brinker, Bob Brinker?
Yep, Bob Brinker. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to him. I hope he's doing okay. Probably deep into retirement, I guess. At this point.
He's up there in years. He's like Paul Harvey age, and Paul Harvey's no longer with us.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And
Brinker was around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He was good on financial stuff, but not really in politics. He never followed it. But
he actually, I think he was. I've heard him attack Sarbanes-Oxley. I've also heard him attack some Republican policies.
Yeah.
But he loved Ben Bernanke. He used to refer to him as Obi-Wan Bernanke.
Okay, yeah, I think he did.
And
he liked Greenspan for some reason. He kept calling him the maestro.
Yeah, he was not. Greenspan was not that bad.
Yeah.
Greenspan waited too long to cut interest rates. I think in the Bush 41 era.
Yeah.
I mean, and all those guys were like Jack Kemp people. Alan Greenspan, Kurt Volker, Bernanke. They were all like Jack Kemp school of thought.
Yeah. What's surprising to me is that Greenspan, who is generally a free marketer and conservative, yet he's married to Andrea
Mitchell. Andrea Mitchell, as I like to call her.
Yeah, that really has got to be.
Yeah,
I can't be fun being married to that woman. I wouldn't think, but
yeah. But there was a time when Andrea Mitchell was actually a normal person before she went to MSLSD, and she was actually. I remember when you had David Brinkley, and the news was always biased, but you had then again they wouldn't. I want to say they would never give Andrea Mitchell a substantive reporting assignment. That would always go to the Met. She'd get the social, because Barbara Walters, remember, she was a social reporter for ABC before she became an anchor in hard news.
That's right. Oh, speaking of David Brinkley, I got one of his books.
Oh wow! Okay,
someone loaned that to me. Well, and speaking of Barbara Walters, didn't she date Kissinger for a bit? Were they an item?
Yes, she did.
It all comes together,
yeah. We'd like to put a nice bow and tie things together at the end of the show, but we've got.
You remember the lady that was married to? She was.
I think you're thinking of Phyllis Diller, who used to push a man on refrigerators.
No, another person for you who was on NET, but it was part of the High Washington Society. She was married to Ben.
Oh, Robert Novak. Robert Novak.
No, this was a lady that was married to Ben Bradley, the late Ben Bradley. And I gave her the tour of NET, and she seemed very interested. I forgot her name, but anyway.
Was it a short woman? Was it a short woman named Ellen Ratner?
No, not Ellen. God, I forgot what the lady's name was. Anyway, but when I thought of Barbara Walters and Kissinger and that sort of high society, I thought of this lady who I've now forgot her name.
But what is it? I remember somebody once made the comment how Phyllis Schlafly looked out like Hedda Harper. was a
Maybe
society
so.
reporter in Hollywood. Because Phyllis Shopton wore the hats like Hedda Harper did.
Yeah. Well, remember Rona Barrett or Rona Barrett,
Yeah,
the
Rhoda
legendary
Barrett,
Holly? Yeah. But Hedda
and
Hopper was big. Hedda
yeah,
Hopper was big in her day.
yeah, she made it. She was on I Love Lucy.
That's right. And it was her son who was on Perry Mason,
Oh really?
William Hopper. Yeah.
Oh really?
Paul
Okay,
Drake apparently is her son. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And if Don were with us, Don would tell us how Dano was the kid from Swiss Family Robinson.
Oh, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah,
Huh. Wow.
but we're coming to we've got a few more minutes, and there's other stuff we've got. I mean, crime is out of control.
Yeah.
See, that's why I don't see the Democrats winning. Crime is out of control. Inflation
Yeah.
is still high. When you go around, I mean, you can say there is no inflation, but when people go to the grocery store, when they buy, when they see what you used to be able to buy 2 liters of soda for less than $1, you're now paying over $2 for.
Oh yeah.
You're paying $1.99 for a russet potato, and that's each.
Yeah.
You're paying that for Vidalia onions. You're paying for everything's got milk is almost $5 a gallon.
Yeah. I see it when it comes to like snack foods, the price increase, like chips.
Yeah, Oreo. I mean,
cereal.
chips are crazy expensive. Like,
Yeah.
Oreo cookies are now $5.99
Wow.
for a small package.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I saw that. Like I was in the grocery store the other day, and I saw that with potato chips.
Yeah, they are.
That's kind of high.
And you only get a deal if you buy like a million packs of them. It's like Safeway is notorious for doing that. You got to buy 4 of these to get the $1.99, and even $1.99 is high because they're not the big size. They've shrunk.
Yeah.
And so on. But yeah, excuse me. And what do you call it? So I guess we'll go into final thoughts. Start with you, Dave. Final thoughts.
I'm not I'm not all that looking forward to winter. I hear it's supposed to be a pretty cold one, and a lot of
They
snow.
keep saying that. I think that's
Yeah.
the ultimate fake news. I see those things on Facebook. Oh, we're gonna get 30 inches of snow. We're not gonna get this. We're gonna get an inch of snow for like 30 times over the winter. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know why, but maybe as I get older, I never liked winter, but I think it's getting worse now. I'm becoming more hostile to winter and the cold weather, but it'll just be a few months, hopefully, so it won't be too long.
I liked winter until I lost all the weight, and now it hits me in my bones. The cold, as my grandmother would say.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's it. But all's well. Doing the book. Got an event tomorrow, so wish me luck. And then,
hey, how'd you do when you spoke to your college Republicans over there at Mason?
I sold one book. It was a small group, but I was still happy to go. The college campus changed a lot since I was there at Mason, but I generally knew my way. I got there a little early, so I went to some of the old places I used to hang out building wise, and the students now hang out at the Johnson Center building. So that's a new building. They were building that just as I left.
Did the CRs have an office on campus when you were there?
No, we didn't, but we had a
we did at GW, and we had one at Maryland also.
Well,
no, they don't. No, none of them. I think GW still has an office, but Maryland does not have a CR office now.
All right. Well, we didn't. We had a locker somewhere. I forgot. But the old Student Union building, Sub 1, where we used to have our meetings, I went back there because that wasn't where the meeting was, but I just wanted to check it out. And it was basically that building is kind of empty now. So the students all go to the Johnson Center, which is this 3-story beautiful. It really is a nice looking building, and with a big atrium, and it's very fancy. We never had anything that fancy, obviously, when I was there. But
did you go to the food court, the dining hall?
Yeah, I was there.
It's a lot better than the old days, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
But Maryland, I remember at Maryland, you had dining hall food. Then we had this upscale restaurant called Umberto's,
All right.
where they serve dining hall food on china, opposed to styrofoam.
Yeah. Wow.
And
There's a certain smell which I can't really, other than say it's like a burnt pizza smell, but there's something about that campus and a student union building. You just kind of you're there. And then also I was on WRVA, an interview with John Reed. I think it went well. I'll soon find out in terms of sales, but I was on for like 8 minutes, which I think is pretty good time.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise, I'm doing my Christmas shopping. I don't know if you've done yours, but
I've been doing some stuff online. Like I've gotten had stuff sent to various people and stuff like that.
Well, I'm starting to love this online stuff, and then I can avoid going to Tyson's Corner Mall and the other.
And get carjacked.
That's right. Yeah. So
I cannot believe somebody got carjacked. I mean, Tyson's Mall. I'm trying to think the one on if you're going on what is that? Is that Route 7 or King?
Yeah,
if you
7 or 123.
Yeah, 123.
Yeah.
Or is it, 123. You're on 123. Is it the one on the right or one on the left? That's the new one. I think the one on the right is the new one, right?
Yep. Yeah. The one on
that's
the right.
dying. There's nothing there.
No, there never really was. I remember when it was being built, my father said, "What the heck are they doing? How can they build one mall next to another one?" But
well, what's funny is they had a Macy's in both of those malls. There was a Macy's in the new mall and the old mall.
Okay. They have a lot of restaurants in the new mall, and that's where they're generating most of their business. I think it's going to be they got a PF Chang's, Legal Seafood.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing. But anyway, that's it. But hanging in there.
Mm-hmm.
And can't wait till Christmas is done. So a few more gifts, and I'm finished with the whole.
That's good. Yeah. We've got tomorrow is our Christmas party and Toys for Tots party in Kensington. It's Sunday, not tomorrow.
Yeah,
Sunday.
I was going to say Sunday. Okay.
Over in Kensington, Maryland.
I'll try to make it.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe we have a couple of books in your car. You may sell a few there.
Yeah, I'll show just to
they make great stocking stuffers, for people.
Well, that's true.
Yes,
that's one way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the it's one of the better things we do. We don't fund. It's not a fundraiser. It's just you collect toys for the U.S. Marine Corps Toys for Tots campaign. A lot of fun doing that.
And so either bring a toy or what was it, $20?
$20. Yep.
Okay.
Yes, not to our club. You give that $20 to the Marine Corps Toys for Tots.
Gotcha.
And we've got, and then the following week is our state party's Christmas party in Baltimore at the home of the lovely and talented Nicola Ambrose, the Grand Old Christmas party. And if you go to mdgop.org, you can get more information about it. And then there's a bunch of there's a bunch of myriad of things that are going on around. You got various women's clubs that have Christmas events and stuff like that go on this week. But yeah, we're winding down for 2023.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing our award show again. I think next week is going to be our awards end of the year award show that we do. So we'll be handing out awards to the best and worst counties and various politicians and so on, But yeah, that's all I've got for final thoughts. We'll see everyone next week. If you have missed our show from last week that we did at the convention, go to our YouTube page and check it out. It is a great show. We had Adam Wood, the MDGOP executive director. We had the county executive from Wycomico County. We had the head of Maps. We had a number of notable folks, and Spiro Agnew's nephew.
There you
go. Okay. Good night, everyone.
See you, Susan. Bye.